This is the U.S. Military Academy. This is Army West Point Sprint Football on Night Vision. Tonight, the Black Knights open their season by hosting the Big Red of Cornell. Good evening, everybody. I'm Nikolai Busco. There we go. Army tonight taking on the Big Red of Cornell. As the Black Knights opening their season, they will kick off, and Cornell will defend the sticks down to the left. Kicking off for Army, the familiar Ben Abercrombie, and this season is underway as the Big Red try to take some steps as well. And Army just all over it in the beginning. Not great field position for Cornell to start their first possession. Bryce DiGiancinto was able to make the tackle on the opening kickoff as Cornell will go to work here. So Army, since 2017, 28-4 overall, 14-0 in the CSFL North Division games with 2 CSFL titles. They finished 6-2 overall last year, but lost twice to Navy, including the title game by a score of 9-7. So they're opening the season against Cornell here tonight, and then traveling to Navy next week and Penn the week after. And of course, Mark West is back for his 14th season as head coach. Cornell finishing second in 2018, but 3-10 since then. They lost momentum after missing a year because of COVID. They won 2 of their final 3 games last year, hoping to carry that energy into this season. And a good run down the near side, but Army able to swarm quickly. Cornell will also play Navy and Penn early, as well as Mansfield, which beat the Big Red 48-6 last year. And of course, for Cornell, Terry Cullen is back on the sidelines. He spent 45 years as head coach and nearly 60 years on the sidelines at Shokoff somehow. By the way, the doubter's position is now older than most of the current players in the program. So an 8-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 2 for Cornell at their own 33. And they'll get it up the middle, and they've got a first down. So Wynkoop able to get the ball and move the sticks for Cornell. 1st and 10 for the Big Red on their own 38. We'll talk more about sprint football in general as this evening's game goes on. You've probably noticed it's just like regular college football. There are 4 downs. The field is 100 yards long. You got 11 men. This is not the CFL, it's the CSFL. Back goes Martinez, throws it over the middle. Pass is complete. And a couple of good tackles immediately. As getting involved quickly for Army was Luke Gigliotti on the tackle. So it'll be 2nd and 3 for Cornell from their own 45-yard line. Floranville able to make the completion from Martinez. Xavier Martinez at quarterback for Cornell. It'll be 2nd and 3 from their own 45-yard line. Single man in the backfield because the players are not as big as you're normally seeing them in traditional college football. A lot of speed here, a lot of grace. Inside handoff. He'll be close to a first down. Might be just short as Army was not fooled that time.
Louisville, the ball carrier for Big Red, tackled by Sullivan and Rath.
Floranville tried to get it through the middle, could not. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd and 3 for the Big Red from their own 45-yard line as Army with a chance to make a big stand here in the early going. Last year's game was not all that competitive when these teams played at the end of the season. Army won in Ithaca 66-6, had 482 yards of total offense to Cornell's 53, had 275 yards on the ground to Cornell's 46. They'll give it to him again. And looks like he's got it. Floranville able to dive through and get a first down. Cornell will have 1st and 10 at midfield. So the Big Red moving the ball well here in the early going. Army's won the last 10 meetings with Cornell, but Cornell had won 4 out of the prior 5. And that might surprise some people given the fact that Army has been so dominant in this sport. Cornell has not won at West Point since 2010. So they're trying to change that here. 1st and 10 at midfield. Martinez hands it off again, and Army warming to the task. No gain here. The Black Knights doing a better job that time of making sure they could close things up down the middle. It'll be 2nd and 9 from the Army 49.5. Thranville
2nd and 9. Ball on the 50.
already with 13 yards on the ground and 4 carries. So they're going to him a lot initially. So 2nd and 9 for the Big Red. Martinez has Hernandez at the slot on the right. Drops back the pass. Hit as he's thrown, and it's going to be wide and incomplete. It was in the vicinity of Jacob McGregor, but Martinez was definitely hit as he threw the ball, and fortunate it wasn't picked off. So it'll be 3rd and 9 for the Big Red at midfield. 4:01 gone here in the opening quarter. Opening night game here at Shea Stadium. Glad you joined us here on Night Vision. As the Black Knights doing a better job of getting inside, penetrating that offensive line. Martinez, good protection. Stays in the pocket. Will make a run for it. And he is wrapped up shy of the marker. Or did he get it? It's close. They say he got it. And some sighs of disbelief from the Army bench. That looked awfully close, but it'll be 1st and 10 for the Big Red on the Army 41. And the Big Red doing a good job of making plays here in the early going. So Martinez back in. Hands it off now to Wenkoop. And he's not going to get a whole lot, if anything. That might be no gain. Army doing a great job that time of wrapping him up. Jacob Wynkoop, one of the captains who participated in the coin toss for Cornell. Hometown is Brick, New Jersey, not far from here. So Sullivan doing a good job of getting their sorted rast. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the 41 for Cornell. And Army is jumping up and down because they say somebody moved on the line.
Offside called against, motion called against the Big Red.
The head linesman just conferring with the referee. And it is an illegal procedure, false start against Cornell. So first game of the season. If you watch the NFL at all, you know the preseason games, the first game of the preseason, you see this commonly. The 5-man offensive line is still trying to learn how to work together. The good news for Cornell is that they have an experienced quarterback in Martinez back there. He's been here before. But for the Big Red, it moves them back 5 yards. 2nd and 15 from their 46. Or pardon me, the Army 46. Martinez still with it. He's pressured well. Able to get it out towards the sideline to Colin Boyle. Boyle makes a nice catch. Good pressure that time from Bryce DiGiacinto for Army, but just could not get him. So the pass is completed, still well short of first down yardage. It'll be 3rd and long, 11 from the Army 42.
3rd down.
Cornell faced with another 3rd down here. They've been able to get it done before on this drive. Can they do it again? The Big Red have done a lot of good things here in this opening possession. They've had the lion's share up. They've had the ball the entire time since the opening kickoff. And that clock is getting down to 8:40 left here in the first. Martinez still pressured. He throws it into the ground. It was loose for a moment. It's still loose. He was trying to get rid of it. It's getting inside on him. Was Mason Goulet. Now the flag is on the field. Is a grounding, though. There might have been a hold in the backfield as well, as the referees now trying to sort this out. He's still trying to figure out what is going to happen next. It's going to be an illegal procedure. There are 2 calls against Cornell.
Illegal formation.
Illegal formation is the call that was the first one. Army will decline both penalties, and that will bring up 4th down. Cornell will punt for the first time tonight. So Army does the job, able to hold the Big Red at midfield.
Back to receive for the Black Knights. Ben Deloitte.
This one is booted away by Charles Snyder Trench, and a fair catch is made. So Ben Deloitte will just catch it and start Army off 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line. So the Black Knights able to stand tall at the end there at their own 25-yard line. Michael Willicke is the quarterback. He will start things off for Army. Has 2 men to the left, 2 men to the right. Fires a quick hitter on the right side. It is complete to Donovan Mannion. He's still going, and they finally wrap him up at around the 32. Army West Point's top priority is to develop leaders prepared to fight winter nations battles. As the world's preeminent leadership institution, the Academy focuses on producing people who exude trust, accountability, passion, integrity, and empathy. To learn more, visit GoArmyWestPoint.com. So 2nd and 2 from the 33. Willicke again, it just goes through the hands, incomplete, of Trey Carson. He would have had a 1st down and he caught it. So critical juncture here. Army's defense just getting off the field after a long possession by Cornell. The Black Knights need 2 yards to move the sticks and keep the ball for at least a couple more minutes. Inside handoff, it comes down to Ryan Connors, and he's got an Army 1st down. So Connors gets it done. The Black Knights will hang out on the balls. We've reached the midway point of the 1st quarter. Still no score. Army's 1st possession. And they're going with a no huddle. Willicke still with it. Throws it down the left side. Complete to Carson. Carson, they say he stepped out of bounds on the ice. He would have been all by his Tony Lonesome in the end zone.
He goes out of bounds.
So Carson dropped one in the backfield earlier. Now he goes down the left side, and Army will have 1st and 10 in Cornell territory. They move it up to the 36. So Willicke looks sharp early under center. Throws another quick hitter. Mannion makes the catch, and he's wrapped up this time. And a good tackle by Billy Turner on the right side for Cornell. So only a gain of 2, 2nd and 8 at the Big Red 34 for Army as the clock continues moving. 6:45 left here in the 1st. They're not wasting any time. You're getting your money's worth. Willicke, quick again to Carson. And Cornell up on the line, limiting the gain.
Tackled by number 41, that's Mulligan for the Big Red.
So Kai Mulligan makes the tackle for Cornell. 3rd and 4 for Army from the 30. Are they in 4-down territory already? Willicke. Flag comes up. Free play. Down the left side in the end zone. And we've got a flag in the end zone as well. It'll be 1st and goal for Army. Devin Brown went down the left side. It was a free play. Somebody for Cornell had jumped. And so the Black Knights will have 1st and goal unless something unforeseen happened along the way. There was definitely contact down in the corner. As the discussion between the referee and one of the other officials continues. Army's not hurrying downfield, so I'm wondering if this is coming back at least in part. Offsides against Cornell. We knew that. That's declined. Pass interference.
Offsides against the Big Red declined.
And so Army will move downfield 15 yards. And we'll have 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line.
1st and 10, Army.
So the Black Knights knocking on the door here in the red zone for the first time this evening. Willicke looks to his right. 2 men to his right, 2 men to his left. Hangs on to it. Goes back to the right side again as one is thrown short, incomplete.
Incomplete pass. Intended receiver was Caleb Irwin. Second and 10.
Caleb Irwin was the intended receiver that time for Army. 2nd and 10 from the Cornell 15 as a pass interference penalty has put Army in the red zone for the first time tonight. Opening possession for Army. Cornell had some good traction but only got as far as midfield. Inside handoff it goes. Down the right side. And scampering into the end zone is Connors for an Army touchdown. Maybe a slight misdirection on the handoff. Cornell was thinking they were going to their right. Connors went to his right. And the Black Knights get the first points of the game. So Ryan Connors runs it into the end zone. But we have a flag on the play. And it looks like it's coming back. Well, it looked easy. That might explain why. Holding called against Army, so they move it back 10 yards. It'll be 2nd and 20 from the 25. To be frank, there was almost like a black hole in that line, and somebody clearly grabbed somebody else and was able to pave the way through. So, good news for Army is they keep the ball here. The bad news is they got to go back a bit. Fake handoff. Willicke into the end zone. Touchdown! Devin Brown right under the goalpost at Army. I don't see any flags this time. The Black Knights will take the lead. So Devin Brown able to get loose in the end zone. Going to go in the books officially as a 15-yard completion. And the Black Knights will try to make it 7-0 in the early going. Ben Abercrombie into kick. And this one is up and good as the Black Knights. Their defense might have set up their offense. Come up with a good stand and a stiff first Cornell drive and get down the field, get some help from a pass interference penalty, and they take a 7-0 lead. You can use Twitter to keep up with the latest news and information about the Army West Point Sprint Football Program. The handle is Army WP_Sprint FB. Again, Army WP_Sprint FB on Twitter. Sprint football is a full contact intercollegiate varsity sport that has the same rules as regular college football, except that all players must weigh 178 pounds or less. For the latest on the sport and the Collegiate Sprint Football League, visit sprintfootball.com. Again, sprintfootball.com. We'll talk more about the sport, what makes it unique as we go on this evening. As the Black Knights able to get a good drive going and have taken the early lead here on the Big Red, who look like they've improved considerably from last season. This one is booted by Abercrombie. Some good tackling the name of the game as Army just swarms in. And there's a little bit of jawing after the play. May have involved James Carswell for Army, but he departs in the night. So, what is sprint football? Well, a couple of basic things. Before a Friday game, players must weigh in at 178 pounds or less on Monday and Wednesday. And the league, they're very strict about this. Using saunas, rubber suits, and hot tops are prohibited. Laxatives and diuretics are forbidden as well. So the bottom line is if you're going to play this unique sport, everybody's got to take good care of you. Nobody's putting you in harm's way. It's kind of like making weight for wrestling. Martinez hangs on to it, gets it down the right side. It's a jump ball, and we're going to have a flag thrown. I think there's going to be interference.
Pass intended for Evan Nicholas. There's a flag on the play.
Evan Nicholas was down the field. That might have been Brahim Swanson on the coverage. Now let's see what we have here. Could this go the other way? No, it will not.
Pass interference.
So a 15-yard penalty moves the ball for Cornell. They'll have the ball on their own 40. First and 10, 5:34 left in the opening quarter. The Black Knights lead the Big Red 7-0. So, since everybody's about the same size, players have to be fundamentally sound as execution is the focus. They are schooled on the basics. You must know how to tackle. This is not traditional football where a big guy can overpower somebody smaller if he's able to catch him. You better know how to make the tackle. As this is sent back again up the middle, Army not fooled that time. Players have to be fundamentally sound as execution is a focus. They also must first be dedicated to academics and yet at the same time balance the time and commitment on the field.
Gain of 2, second inning, ball on the 42.
And the league is strict about that with all of its members, not just the service academies. So Mosher runs for 2 yards. It'll be second and 8 for the Big Red at the 42. Martinez over the middle, almost intercepted. As getting in quickly was Swanson trying to make up for what happened with the pass interference penalty.
Broken up by Swanson. Third down. Third and 8, ball on the 42.
So it'll be third and 8 for the Big Red at the 42. Army trying to get another stop here. After they got the stop, they're able to come downfield and score. Because the players are about the same size, about 178, very rarely you see a full house backfield like you sometimes see in the traditional game. Fake handoff, and Martinez gets wrapped up. Ryan Rast was able to penetrate and take down Martinez, and Army will force Cornell to punt again. Sometimes you have to get lucky, and sometimes just a lot of hard work. Russell might have been involved as well. So 4th and 15 for the 35. Cornell just trying to put away, get some good field position defensively. Deloitte back to receive with a fair catch on the first one. He's just going to let this one roll. They'll stare it down, the Big Red, and pick it back up. Kai Mulligan got down there first. Thanks to the roll, it turns into a 41-yard punt. No return. Army will start first and 10 at their own 24. For those new to the CSFL, there are 7 other teams besides the 2 you're seeing tonight. Alderson Broadus, Caldwell, Chestnut Hill, Mansfield, Navy, Penn, and St. Thomas Aquinas. Willicke calls for the ball, facing some pressure on the run. Did he stay in bounds? Yes, he did. Good catch on the sideline by Trey Carson. And that will move the chains again. It is quick. 14-yard gain, first and 10 for Army at the 38. Fakes the handoff. And this one is thrown through the middle, incomplete. Good ball fake to Connors. And we have some more jawing on the field. There's a lot of yapping going on right now as the Big Red are telling Army they're here to fight. Trying to tell them this is not going to be the same 66-6 game at Shokoff last year. Second and 10 for the Black Knights. Willicke. Did somebody jump? A flag goes up. Free play. Downfield it goes. And it's caught! Downfield! They will certainly decline the penalty as Devin Brown with another big catch for Army. And the Black Knights are cooking again.
Pass complete to Devin Brown for the Black Knights.
Brown took off. As soon as the flag came of the line judge's pocket, he was gone. Willicke receiving good enough protection, had presence of mind to throw it downfield, knowing that he had a free play. That is a 38-yard gain. 1st and 10 for Army on the Big Red 23. And the Tanks are rolling again. Able to get rid of it. Throws it into the flat now for Connors. And he is out of bounds. Something out of nothing for Army. They've been able to make some plays here in the first quarter.
Tackle by Turner.
Turner with a stop, but not before the Black Knights got more and more field position, I think, on that play than they ever could have expected.
Ball on the 12-yard line.
Connors for 10. 1st and 10 for Army on the Cornell 13. Willicke again, but this one is dropped by Brown.
Incomplete pass.
Well, he is human after all, Devin Brown.
Intended for Devin Brown.
Brown has 2 catches tonight, 1 for the touchdown, and that last one that was for 39 yards. Willicke out of the gate is 8 for 12 with 116 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty good. 2nd and 10 at the 13. Can Cornell make a couple of plays here and get a stop, if not a turnover? Quick hitter on the right side. And this one is reeled in, one-handed grab. Mannion was able to climb the ladder and get the jar of peanut butter at the top of the shelf. Not much of a gain, if anything, though. So it's 3rd and 10 for Army at the Cornell 13.
3rd down on the 13.
What are they going to do here now? He's calling an audible, but I don't think he's yelling Omaha, Omaha. Isn't that copyrighted by now? Fakes the handoff into the corner. Touchdown! Trey Carson strikes again. Able to reel that one. It had to be perfect from Willicke. And with 2:15 left in the first, Army scores again. It leads 13-0. Willicke saw something at the line, called an audible. Every quarterback's got that list of plays on his sleeve that, says, okay, if we have this, if I get this kind of a look, I'm going to take the shot here. Abercrombie is 2 for 2. Army, their offense is 2 for 2. And they now lead 14-0 with 2:15 left here in the first quarter. The Army West Point men's basketball team will play in the London Basketball Classic. This happens November 24th and 26th in London's Olympic basketball venue. Please visit GoArmyWestPoint.com periodically for the latest information. So I told you there are 9 teams in the CSFL. Army and Cornell share the North Division with Caldwell, Mansfield, and St. Thomas Aquinas. Navy plays in the South Division with Alderson Broadus, Chestnut Hill, and Penn. And the league championship pits the 2 division champions against each other. Other places, of course, have had teams in the past. Princeton, wish they still had a program. Maybe somebody will bring it back. Post used to have one too. Abercrombie will get ready to boot this one away as the Big Red looking for a response. They have not played poorly, but Army's made some plays here. Black Knights able to swarm again to limit the gain as the Big Red will start just shy of their 30. Early returns again, Willicke, 10 out of 14, 128 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Trey Carson has 54 yards receiving, as does Devin Brown. Carson with 4 catches, Brown with 2. They each have the touchdown. Xavier Martinez back under center for Cornell, 2 for 4. 11 yards. Ralph Fleur-Anvil has 13 yards on 4 carries for the Big Red so far. Pitch back on the near side. Whitecoop tries to fight through, and it's a huge ball. Granville, has the ball, and it'll be 2nd down as he was short. Sullivan involved on the tackle. Under 2 minutes left here in the first quarter. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Big Red on their 27. We'll see what adjustments Terry Cullen can make with his quarterback Xavier Martinez. Just trying to lead the Big Red down the field at the moment. They've got a couple of different looks. They haven't quite figured things out just yet. Another handoff as Army again clogging up the middle. The Big Red are not getting much anything up the middle at all. So a minute to go here in the first quarter. Army in good shape offensively. Defensively have not been bad either, as Kai Mulligan was able to rush that time, but no gain. It'll be 3rd and 7 from their own 27. 40 seconds left here in the opening quarter. Martinez in the shotgun. Has some time. Now the pocket starts to collapse, and he is wrapped up from behind. Able to get him that time was Mason Goulet.
Tackle made by D'Antonio.
Or pardon me.
Lost on the play.
It was D'Ancinto, I think, that may have gotten to the last second. The first quarter is going to come to an end, and the teams will switch ends. Army off to a good start offensively. Willicke fires a couple of touchdown passes. One to Carson and the other to Brown, as Army does enough defensively to give themselves good field position. After the Cornell punts, the Big Red, they've come prepared. They look pretty good, but they're going to need a lot more if they want to catch Army here. The Black Knights lead 14-0 in their season opener here at Shea Stadium. Second quarter is next here on Night Vision. The teams switch ends as we start the second quarter. Army leads Cornell 14-0 and stands to get the ball back here with some good field position again. As the trains roll by, it's a simple, wait a second, this one is going to go to the end zone, and wisely kicking it through the end zone and out of play is Charles Snyder Trench. That will be a safety for Army. So they get 2 more points and lead 16-0. And Cornell will have to kick it away from their own 20. As tough as Cornell's had sustaining drives, that's really the first bad thing that's happened to them all night. They looked sharp up, but right until then. So the Black Knights get a bit of a break, and they'll have decent field position to begin their next possession. Keep in mind that Army West Point Athletics are Army West Point athletes are not just cadet athletes, but also Warrior Scholars. Army represents Warrior, and West Point represents Scholar. To separate them and take them into purpose of the U.S. Military Academy, they come together as one to outsmart the enemy. We have a lot going on post tonight. So here's what I know. There's a rugby match going on at the Anderson Rugby Complex. The Black Knights men are in front of Queens University of North Carolina, in Charlotte to be specific, 21-7. That game has about 20, maybe 16 minutes left in it. Second half at Malik Stadium at Clinton Field. The Army women lead Lehigh by a goal to nil. Caitlin Palian with the goal as the Black Knights in their league opener against the Mountain Hawks. Volleyball at nearby Gillis Fieldhouse. Army trailing American 2-0, but the Black Knights lead the third set 22-20. Oh, by the way, Army volleyball plays Navy tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. There's always something going on here. So this one is going to be booted away quickly as Army will go back to work and they'll at least get midfield. As trying to turn it around quickly and getting across that midfield strike was DeAndre Brunings. So he's able to get it past midfield, and the Black Knights go back to work quickly. If you're Army, you got to feel real good about your offense right now. Willickey's had a great start to the game. He's hit all his targets. When Connors has run the ball, he's done well. So let's see what happens next here. As the referee is blowing the whistle for a second, what have we here? Oh, yeah. They left the tee behind, and not Earl Grey. So having to go retrieve the tee was Spencer Katz. This is not the NFL where a kid runs and gets it. Fake handoff. Willickey downfield again. Looking for his man. It's caught for a touchdown! Donovan Mannion! What a tremendous catch! Target hit! Target destroyed! Army leads 22-0. 45-yard strike, dead center. As Mannion was able to look the ball into the night sky and into his chest and tumbled into the end zone. Lions and Tigers and Black Knights, oh my. That's going to be a very hard pill for Cornell to swallow. Again, I see effort, I see poise, but the Black Knights very angry over the way last season ended with 2 losses to Navy, one of the regular season, one of the title game, 9-7. One thing people don't understand is that in traditional football, Army and Navy play each other once at the end of the season, and that's it. In sprint football, they can play each other twice, and Navy, for one reason and another, had Army's number last year. To say that the Black Knights have come into this game preparing for next week's game against Navy, a little bit of vitriol and vigor. Use another V word, vinegar, except they've poured an amount of baking soda, and they've exploded for 23 points inside 16 minutes of this contest. Willickey, 11 out of 15, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. For those wondering the quarterback rating, 236.2. Here's something else. 3 different men have touchdown receptions. Carson, 4 catches for 54 yards. Mannion has 4 catches for 54 yards. And Brown has 2 catches for 54 yards. I kid you not, those are the numbers I've got on my screen. This one is tracked down and brought back quickly as McGregor runs it out of bounds at around the 25-yard line. So the Big Red will take a deep breath and go back to work. If you're Army, it's important to remain focused. Do not get overconfident. There's still plenty of game left here. And again, you're playing Navy next week. So Martinez goes back to work in the shotgun. Backfield is empty. He looks at the play clock and he calls timeout, and that might be the worst thing that Cornell has done all night. It should be very simple when you break the huddle to come back for the first play of the drive. You should be able to know what's going to happen next. And right now, the Big Red look a little bit rattled. Army-Navy Cup 11, presented by Lidos, takes place October 7th at Subaru Park in Chester, Pennsylvania. To buy tickets for men's college soccer game like no other, head to men's soccer page at GoArmyWestPoint.com and find the release for the game. The men leading these programs are tremendous people. The West Point community obviously knows Mark West well. He's back for his 14th year. Graduated from here in 1991. Perhaps his hardest years were the 4 where his son Keegan was the quarterback. Keegan, by the way, is, from what I understand, at Fort Benning and doing well. Welcome those who are serving right now, watching this game tonight. As Martinez is able to hand it off, and the Big Red will not find much. As Army closes the door in the middle again. It'll be 2nd and 9 for the Big Red.
2nd and 9 for the Big Red. Ball at 26.
Just trying to see their way through right now. They thought they could take a big step. They thought they had some momentum before they ended the season with a bad loss to Army. Martinez hangs in there and gets it over the middle, completed to Evan Nicholas.
Nicholas for Big Red.
He makes the catch,
Tackle by himself.
and it looks like he's going to be just short. He'll be 3rd and 1 for the 34. Biggest play of the game coming up right now. If Cornell wants to get serious, they have to get this yard. Army, if they were Sharks, they'd be smelling lots of blood right now. Can they close it off here and get the ball back? Martinez has Wynkoop behind him. Gets it to him. And Wynkoop is stuffed like a baked potato at the line.
Loss of the yard.
Army does a great job closing the front door, and the Big Red, are they thinking about going for it? They might be. And if that's what Terry Cullen wants to do, it's not a bad idea, because right now Army's been able to do what they've wanted to do with the football. They've had short field all evening. Well, you think Terry Cullen's been on the sidelines for nearly 6 decades. He's seen everything. Can Cornell try to draw Army? Inside. No! No! Army gets the stop. Right play to Mosier, inside handoff. But the Black Knights stand tall and will have a very short field when they get the ball back. Everything going Army's way right now. So about Terry Cullen. I guarantee you he'll have the respect of any cadet here on post. After earning his Master's of Business Administration from Cornell in '66, he did a tour in Vietnam in '67 as a Marine Corps infantry officer. Received both the Purple Heart and Silver Star. That'll get the cadets' attention for sure. I think that's Henry Beck taking the handoff. He's able to get a chunk of yards in the early going. That'll set up 2nd and 4 at the 27. Or pardon me, the 23. He's got it again. Breaks for one tackle, breaks for another, and Beck is going to score a touchdown. Henry Beck rolls over a Big Red wall, and Army scores again. He did that all by himself. He did get a block to get beyond the line of scrimmage, but Army was able to just get the ball back on that big stop on 4th and 2. I think based on how the Big Red had managed the ball in field position, it was a risk worth taking for Cullen, but it's backfired now. Abercrombie gets it nice and high. And Army, inside of 18 minutes, has built a 30-0 lead on the Big Red. Henry Beck with a 23-yard score, 2 carries, gaining 33 yards. That makes him the top rusher in the game so far, and I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of names show up on the stat sheet by the time this one is over. The Black Knights certainly want to get some players in this game because they might not, at least the B-listers, might not see the Navy game with how important that game's going to be. But at the same time, if you're Mark West, you want to make sure that your A-team is ready to go for what's going to be a titanic clash next week. So here we go again as Abercrombie's going to boot this one away. Cornell just looking for their luck to change. The effort has been great, but they just have not been able to get that big play. It'll take a bounce. Mosier picks it up. And he's out just ahead of the 20, and we've got some stuff after the whistle. Nothing much there, but it's had that kind of a tinge all evening. Not quite as rowdy as line or rink, but we might get there by the end of this one if this keeps up. So if you're the Big Red, you just got to make some progress here. Just trying to make some plays. Xavier Martinez has made some good decisions with the ball. His fakes have been very good. Army's just been locked in. First and 10 at the 23. Throws this one out to the side, and there'll be very little gain for Floranville.
Sullivan with a tackle. Swanson also on the tackle.
So it'll be 2nd and 9 coming up here. Maybe 10, actually. No gain on the play officially, they say. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 23. Boyle, by the way, was the one who made the reception. So 2nd and 10 for Cornell at the 23.
No gain in the play, 2nd and 10.
Army defensively has done everything right so far. They've had some great stands on 3rd and 4th down. Cornell's come with a game plan, but has not been executed well. That first drive was good, but since then, seems like Army's decoded the playbook to some extent. And this one is nearly picked off.
Incomplete pass, intended for number 88.
Intended for McGregor. And in on coverage again is Brahim Swanson, who's had an active night.
3rd and 10 for Cornell.
So the Big Red just trying to get a first down here and move the chains. A quarterback draw might not be a bad idea if Martinez is up for it. A draw to the running back might be good too as Army. Whenever Martinez has thrown the ball lately, they've been able to respond quickly. Martinez now 4 for 7 with 19 yards in the air. He's been sacked 3 times. Drops back. Pocket starts to collapse. Thrown. It's almost picked off near midfield as Brendan Tierney was there. Tierney was in the right place and almost made the catch, and there was no one in front of him for at least a few yards. So, the last time we were here in this situation, things did not go well at all for Snyder Trench.
Charles Kent punting for the Big Red.
Gets rid of this one nice and high. Fair catch is going to be called for right at midfield. 27 net. That's not great. But if you're Cornell, you're just trying to keep Army from having that explosive play. Looking at the in-town scoreboard for a moment. Again, we got a lot going on post tonight. Army men's rugby now 2-0. Beat Kutztown in a great match last week. They've defeated Queens of Charlotte 28-12 at Anderson Rugby Complex. 10 minutes left at Malik Stadium. The Army women's soccer team leads Lehigh a goal to 0. As this one is completed to Caleb Irwin. And he's got another first down. They have forced a 4th set at Gillis Fieldhouse. The Army women's volleyball team defeats American 26-24. In the 3rd set again, the Black Knights take on Navy tomorrow. Inside handoff it comes. And it is turned up by Connors. He stays in bounds. Is he out? No, touchdown! Ryan Connors tiptoes along the sideline. The side judge looked at one of the other officials to say, did he stay in? And the other official said, yes, he did. So more push-ups if you can do them as the Black Knights continue building a huge lead. It's amazing how things have changed in the last quarter of football. Cornell had a great first drive, but it stalled just over midfield. It took 7 or 8 minutes off the clock. And since then, the Black Knights have done everything right. Abercrombie boots that one through, and the score is now 37-0 with still 10:04 left in the first half. And as far as I can tell, unlike other sports, there's no provision for a running clock. Cornell has to hope that their luck's going to change, but right now, Army is just focused on getting ready for that big game next week against Navy. You can now buy single-game ticket to Mikey Stadium for Army West Point football. There is a game tomorrow. Season tickets, group sales, many plans are also still available. Visit GoArmyWestPoint.com and scroll over tickets to get in the game. If you want Army-Navy tickets, then please call the A Club at 845-938-2322 or to ticket off to 1-877-TICKS-ARMY. So Connors has 56 yards on 3 carries. Willicke is 12 out of 16, 485 yards. 3 guys already have 54 yards receiving. And a big, big hit as Cornell will start shy of their 25. The chant of frustrated often echoes at line of rink when the hockey team is doing well. I think Terry Cullen's men are obviously frustrated with how things have gone since that opening possession.
On their own 23-yard line.
Martinez comes back in. So Braggs and Petkus on the stop on McGregor. And this one is not going to go anywhere again as the Big Red just trying to stay the right identity, trying to run the ball, trying to have some sense of control here. But not able to get past the Army defensive line that has worked very, very hard this evening.
Second and 8. Ball at 25.
So second and 8 on the 25 for Anvil. Now has 19 yards on the ground on 7 carries. That's only averaged at 2.7. It's not great. Not his fault, though. Out of those 19, he got 8 on 1 carry. So on the other 6, he's only gotten 11 yards. So the Black Knights made adjustments following that first possession. Martinez in the gun. Pocket starts to collapse, and down he goes as wrestling him down is Brendan Windsor. Windsor, one of the captains that participated in the coin toss, able to get a handle on Martinez. It'll be 3rd and long.
3rd and 16. Ball back to the 17, their own 17-yard line.
3rd and 16 on their own 17 is Cornell just trying to find a lifeline right now. They don't have to be a millionaire. Just get a first down and just continue to possess the ball. But Army wants that ball back. So let's see what happens now. Pocket collapses, able to step up as Martinez throws it downfield. It's almost intercepted, was thrown a little short.
Number 3, that's Evan Nicholas.
Was intended for Nicholas.
Incomplete pass. 4th down, 4th and 16 on the 17.
And so Cornell will have to punt again.
Back to punt, Charles Trench.
So back to punt once again will be Snyder Trench. As the Black Knights looking for good field position again. This one is pooched nice and high. And Army's Wise just let it go out of bounds. We have a flag on the play. Was there somebody downfield too quickly? Impressed there have not been that many penalties accepted in this game so far. First game of the year, I think they have a parade of false starts. We haven't had that tonight. Holding during the kick against Army. So that's the type of things, if Mark West wants to be nitpicking, and he has every right to be, he's going to say, you can't do that on the kick. Go back and try to block, don't hold. So they'll move it back 10 yards. That's a break for Cornell. And Army will start this drive just inside the Cornell 45. Willicke is 12 out of 16, 485 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Attention, please. Those partaking in the halftime festivities, the class of 70 football team.
And it looks like they're moving it again. It's 10 yards to the spot of the foul. So they're moving it back.
Halftime celebration ceremony.
Everybody moves this way, everybody moves that way.
At 5 minutes.
It will be right at the 45. So the Black Knights going back to work. Will there be another explosive play? They have a new quarterback in there. It's Seth Brown, and he's got it. And he gets it upfield. Shotgun just plows ahead. So Michael Willicke is out of the game for now. Boy, was he good. And Seth Brown is new to the game for Army. He gets 8 on the draw, 2nd and 2 at the Cornell 37. Tosses it quickly, able to get it to Carson. Carson turns the corner and gets a first down. It's inside the 30s. Army moving the tanks again. You've probably noticed that in sprint football, because everybody is smaller and quicker, the quarterback has the opportunity to just sling that ball right after getting it and letting the receiver do all the work. Lots of yards after the catch tonight, that's for sure. Mannion didn't need any on his. Actually, none of the scorers really needed many yards after the catch. It's the stuff in between that sets it up. Inside hand, I'm trying to turn it up the corner. That might be Bellevue into the game for the first time. And some shoving as wisely backing away is Tim D'Antonio, the offensive lineman.
2nd and 7, ball with 26.
Cornell can be upset with how things have gone, but that's not how to deal with it. 2nd and 7 for the 26. Brown in there again. Another draw. He is fast. He moves through. Gets inside the 20. And it looks like he has a first down. So Army moves the chains again.
Picks up the first down, move the chains.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Army at the 18-yard line.
1st and 10 on the big red 18.
So Seth Brown, with his entrance of the game, turned this into a different personality. Slings this one, and it is incomplete. Almost picked off, and well, Caleb Irwin thought he might have had a grab there, but the answer is no. It almost could have been intercepted.
That's Caleb Irwin. 2nd and 10.
So Army continue to move the ball well. Clock has stopped in the incomplete pass with 5:52 left. Another draw. Brown continues moving. He's still going. He's got it down to the 4. 1st and goal for Army.
Inside the 5.
So the clock continues running as Army looking for another help to the salad bar here. They've had great field position all night, and Brown trying to engineer the score here. Coming into the game for Willicke on this drive. Takes it again, and he is not going to have any trouble getting this one in. He is lightning fast, and Army builds on its lead further. It's now 43-0 with 5:08 left in the opening half. Abercrombie trying to make his 6th extra point in the first half. Inside 20 minutes, actually. He's been busy. He's like the butler. You ring the bell. Jeeves, kick this one through. He does. 44-0 Army over Cornell. I'm sure most people who follow the sport and this league would have expected Army to win convincingly, but I don't think they expected the Black Knights to have this many points early in the contest. Check out the official online store of Army West Point. You can browse the complete selection of officially licensed apparel merchandise by visiting shop.goarmysports.com. Again, shop.goarmysports.com. You're grateful if you have people who serve your program well. Black Knights have been fortunate to have Mark West. Terry Cullen has been with Cornell's program for what has felt like an eternity. And they're not the only two places that had something like that. He recently retired 3 years ago after coaching his 50th and final year. Bill Wagner at Penn. That's somebody else that comes to mind as people who have been stewards of their programs and the sport. Wagner retired in 2019 from Penn and being the head coach for exactly 50 years. Grateful for the men that have allowed these young men to be able to play the sport they love for 4 more years. And the Big Red will start inside the 25 again. And now we've got a flag and somebody said the wrong thing or it continued on. And it looks like it might be against Army, and if that's the case, that might be a point of emphasis for Mark West at halftime. So let's see what happened here, but one of the officials definitely extended his right arm to indicate it was against Army. You don't need to tell the Big Red to look at the scoreboard. Each member of Cornell's team has 2 eyes. So in sportsmanlike conduct against Army, which is really, to be frank, the first not-so-smart thing they've done all night, and I'm sure that Mark West will tell his men at halftime, I expect better of you. Don't do that. I know you're hyped. I know you know what happens next week, but just play to the whistle, and that's it, gentlemen. So Cornell will get the ball. First and 10 at the 36.
Willick is the ball carrier for Big Red.
The floor anvil is wrapped up quickly, but not for gaining. Just 1 yard there, maybe. It'll be 2nd and 9 from the 35. So Army's defense has continued to put in the work. That's all part of the process here. There are 4,400 young people putting in the work for 47 months. That's how this place works. Martinez trying to hang in there, trying to get his team on the board before halftime. Pursued heavily. And this will be completed down the right side. Able to get to Colin Boyle. Boyle into Army territory. First down, Cornell.
Boyle with a reception for Big Red.
So the Big Red have a pulse.
Got by number 32. That's Sean Cuff.
Cuff made a tackle to keep Boyle from going further downfield.
First and 10. On the 42.
23-yard gain. First and 10 for the Big Red at the Army 42. Martinez, good protection. Now the pocket collapses, throws it, overthrows his target, incomplete. Might have been looking for Boyle again.
Incomplete pass. Number 18.
Floranville might have been downfield too. 2nd and 10 for Cornell at the Army 42. This is as far as the Big Red have come tonight. They had an opening drive that showed lots of promise the first 7 or 8 minutes of the game. And then it stalled at midfield, and Army, well, they decided to get serious, and they've gotten serious in a big way. Just keep trying to build. Sometimes forget about the score and just focus on every play, every set of downs, every possession, and try to just cut down the game a little bit. Granville's wrapped up here. So James Windsor on the tackle for Army. It'll be 3rd and long for the Big Red. 3:18 left in the first half, where Army has done everything they've needed to do. All anybody had to tell them before this game was Navy is next week. The same Navy team that beat you twice last year. They have not been short on motivation tonight. Martinez throws it deep, and it's just overhead. Boyle might have been wide open down the right hashes and was just overthrown. Parmius Wynkoop. So it's 4th down and 10 for the 42. And why not go for it? You're down 44-0. Not much has gone right for you in, I would say, the last quarter and a half. Why not take the shot? Martinez needs to get to the 32 to keep things going. Good protection. Now here comes the cavalry. Throws it deep downfield. It's just over the head of Lewis downfield. Or Parmos Nicholas. Nicholas was so close. If he's any taller, maybe he has a chance. But Army holds again on Cornell, and it is still 44-0. Big, big win for the Army women's soccer team. They defeat Lehigh at Malik Stadium at goal to nil. They win a huge game. Caitlin Paley with a goal in the 6th minute. Army volleyball leading the Fort Central American 22-15, trying to force a frantic 5th set. They've got Navy tomorrow. This one is completed. Down on the near side to Cody Lomanak, who's able to get across midfield.
That was Cody Lomanak for the Black Knights.
So Lomanak continues moving the chains. The clock continues running. Army has all 3 of its timeouts left.
41.
And it's a new quarterback in there as well. It's Justin Fitzgerald, who hangs on to the ball. Now it's loose, it's out. And it looks like Army able to recover it quickly.
Tackle by Haynes.
I think it was Chance Pogue that fell on it. So Justin Fitzgerald is in. So Army, with its 3rd quarterback here in the first half, is Mark West just trying to give everybody a look here. Fitzgerald wasn't a great fake, but still got it up the line. And looks like he's got a first down. As the Black Knights going into a bit of a no huddle here with 102 seconds left of the opening half. So Fitzgerald, a 3rd tank driver tonight for Army. Looks for it. And this one was a trap. No, it wasn't. Good catch made by Gerald Moore. It's Army moving the ball, trying to move the chains again, moving down the depth chart. 120. The clock continues to run. 2nd and 5 for the Ink Red 24. Fitzgerald scampering. He'll get rid of it. The side judge just needs to blow the whistle, does not have to catch the ball. 3rd and 5. Right now it's a 41-yard attempt for Abercrombie. That's within his range. He hit one as far as 46 last year. He hasn't been challenged much tonight. Fitzgerald looks around. Is there an audible? Yes, there is. He's got time, 15 on the timer. Pitches it out, and trying to turn it up is Belleville, and he is going to be out. We'll see if they give him the first down, and they do. Just got enough. Needed 5, got 6. 1st and 10 at the 17. Fitzgerald again. Throws towards the bottom post, and it's going to be, no, they're going to say pass interference penalty, I think, is covered heavily, was Ben Deloitte. And looking back in disgust, well, I think Jayden Queen for Cornell. So let's see what we have here. Referee listens to his umpire. It'll be pass interference, and it will be against Cornell. That's half the distance. So Army, 1st and goal on the 9.
Pass interference against.
No, pardon me. They're going to move it all the way down. It's not half the distance. It'll be 1st and goal on the 2. So the Black Knights, 1st and goal here in the final minute of the first half. This one is given and taken to the house by Belleville.
Army. That's Scott Belleville.
So Belleville puts that one in as Army efficient with their 3rd quarterback of the night. They've had 6 different players get into the end zone. 3 by land, 3 by air. Abercrombie trying to make his 7th extra point of the half. In the season finale last year for Cornell, they gave up 66 total points over the course of the game against Army. They have now given up 51, and I am certain that that was not what they were expecting. It's okay to be disappointed. Every right to be. But Terry Cullen is likely going to tell his team at halftime, I think, just forget about what's happened. Let's focus on the mistakes we can correct right now. They've updated the stat sheet. It is now 7 different men that have gotten into the end zone for Army tonight. On the ground, Connors, Brown, Beck, and Belleville. In the air, Carson, Mannion, and the other Brown. Army has amassed 147 yards on the ground to Cornell's 6. Cornell has attempted to rush the ball 20 times. They've only gotten 6 yards total. In the air, Army has gained 215 yards to Cornell's 42. Just a dominant performance by Army, which I think wants revenge on everybody after how the season ended last year. And another good hit that'll keep Cornell inside the 25 to start with 42 seconds left in the opening half.
Early on the tackle for the Black Knights.
Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. I think for the Big Red right now,
in the second half, first half.
they're a huge mosquito somewhere on Route 13 heading up towards Cortland. Just take a deep breath. They've got 2 timeouts. They can try to make something happen here. Martinez just hands it off here, and wrapped up was Mosier, and there go more flags, and we've got a bit of a conversation. This had been brewing for most of the first half. And now the officials are going to sort out who did what and who's going to be penalized. They might offset here. Something else that both coaches need to talk about with their teams at the half. These officials have a job to do. They don't want to make it tougher for them. Personal foul, and this one is against Army. If there's one thing Army has not done well in this first half, it's discipline. That is not the first major foul against them here in the first half. Yes, there are expectations that you're going to be models of discipline when you're here and after. They need to be better on that front. Everything else has been great. So Cornell gets the ball on their own 41, and now that might change the complexion of things here, as this one's gutted up the middle once more. And now we're hoping that the half ends with some civility, but it looks like the Big Red have called timeout here.
Florenville, the ball carrier for Cornell.
Florenville gets the ball again.
Gain of 4, second and 6.
As the Big Red will call timeout. They have 1 left with 26 seconds left of the opening half, where Army has a 51-0 lead. Honor roll time for Army. Ryan Connors has 56 yards on the ground, has 1 of the touchdowns. Trey Carson has 62 yards receiving and 1 of the touchdowns. Donovan Mannion has 54 yards receiving and a touchdown. Same thing for Devin Brown. Seth Brown, the second quarterback of the night, gained 34 yards on the ground and scored himself. The starting quarterback tonight, Michael Willicke, 12 for 16 and 185 yards and 3 touchdowns in the air. Quarterback rating officially 234. Xavier Martinez under center for Cornell the entire first half, 5 for 13, has been sacked 4 times. Again, Cornell's first drive was good till it stalled at midfield. Martinez over the middle, and this is going to find nobody, except maybe the bottom of Cayuga Lake. They are trying. But right now, Army has their number in more ways than one. Just try to make a complete pass, get a first down, and try to set up one more play, bit of a Hail Mary at midfield if you can. The Big Red have to get across midfield to keep the drive going. They'll have 2 shots here. Martinez looks down the right side, finds the target. That's a Cornell first down.
Pass complete. Abraham. Move the chains, 1st and 10. Ball on the 43.
$14 seconds left in the half. They've still got time for a couple of plays, but Martinez has wrapped up. Great shoestring tackle to the backfield. That might have been Ryan Rast again for Army. And Cornell will call its final timeout with 8 seconds left here in the half.
That'll be the last timeout by Cornell.
Actually, that looks like William Saylor that got him instead. So this could be the final play of the first half for Cornell, as they're just looking to get on that scoreboard here. Army has done well to make some big plays. They've done a lot here in the first 30 minutes. Mannion, a 45-yard pass from Willicke among them. That might be the biggest highlight of all. 8 seconds left. Martinez looking to the sidelines, and it is ruled complete. Or is it? No, it's not. Thought he had taken it in, but it was dropped incomplete. 2 seconds left here. So officially it's 3rd and 15 for the Big Red, but this is for all intents and purposes the final play of the first half, barring a defensive penalty. Everybody going long. Martinez throws it short. And it doesn't matter if it's complete or not. That is the end of the first half as Army goes to work in a big way. Cornell, with the way they started the game, you thought that they would make this one very competitive, but in the end, Army able to get that opening drive for the Big Red to stall, and then they went to work. Devin Brown catching a 15-yard pass from Michael Willicke. That started the scoring. Then Willicke to Trey Carson for 13 yards. That made it 14-0. That was how the first quarter ended. Then a safety on a snap that went out of the end zone on a punt for Cornell. That made it 16-0. That explains why we don't have multiples of 7 right now. Willicke then found Mannion for 45 yards, and he somersaulted or rolled into the end zone. That made it 23-0. Then Henry Beck ran for 23 yards. That made it 30-0. Ryan Connors ran for 38 yards. That made it 37-0. And there was still plenty of time left in the first half at that point. Seth Brown did it all himself, but it goes in as a 4-yard touchdown run with 5 minutes left in the half. That made it 44-0. And then Scott Belville, a 2-yard run at the end in the final minute. 51-0. Army with a lead on Cornell at the half here at Shea Stadium. We will be back for the second half here on Night Vision. Welcome back to Shea Stadium here on Night Vision. Nikolai Busko, thank you for joining us here. Opening night for the Army West Point Sprint football team. As it looks like it's trying to make some tracks here. The early going, they've got Navy next week. Lost twice to Navy last year. That's just no good around here. They've opened a 51-0 lead on Cornell as the second half about to start. Army scoring 4 touchdowns in the first 5 minutes of the second quarter to pull away, but we've got half a game left here. As the Big Red will kick off to start the third quarter. For Cornell, I cannot imagine things getting much worse. They had high expectations after what they thought was a finish last year to generate some momentum. They lost to Army 66-6 at Sholkoff last year. And Army somehow has generated 51 points here in the first half because of short field position and some big plays. This one will be fielded by Kobe Simeon, who's able to come upfield, and he is wrapped up short of the 35. The only thing Army really needs to do better in the second half, maintain their discipline. A couple of major fouls called against them in that first half. No running your mouth at the Big Red, no running your mouth at the officials. Just play to the whistles, play hard, and that's it. The only thing they need to do right now. Seth Brown will start the second half at quarterback. Michael Willicke was 12 of 16 for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns in that first half. Was lifted for Brown, and then Justin Fitzgerald had come in to finish up the half. Brown, look at him go, but he's wrapped up quickly to minimize the gain. Good, strong tackle by Marco Nidokum. Again, this is sprint football. The players are all roughly the same size. Tackling is the name of the game. Technique, the name of the game. Brown's got it again, throws it down the field left side. It's going to be caught. Tremendous patience.
Lomanak complete. First down, Army.
Cody Lomanak able to reel that one in as Army moving the chains again. Again, these are players that are 178 pounds or less.
Army West Point.
They honored, I think, the 1972 team at the half. Back then, you could only play if you were 150 pounds or less. Amazing how the sport has evolved over the years. And again, there are things that are in place to ensure that the weight is maintained in a healthy way. No saunas allowed, and you got to weigh in twice leading up to game day. 2nd and 4 as Army just try to keep the chains moving. Belleville runs it this time. He only gets 1 yard, so it'll be 3rd and 3 for Army at the 33. Only 9 teams in the CSFL right now. Hopefully there'll be more. I just get this feeling that when Keegan West gets out of his service, when his time is up, he might be able to take the torch not just here but everywhere. Just hoping that somebody can get more teams involved in the sport at this level. As the Black Knights able to move the chains again. 1st and 10 at the 27. So Scott Belleville, 7 yards in the last 2 carries. And we have a flag in the air as Brown turns the corner, gets knocked out of bounds. And a flag comes out in the last second. Well, the official thought about it, and I'm wondering if the heat didn't get so high in the first half, if he might have kept the flag in the pocket here with the second. Brown was running, and I think at that point, he's not just a quarterback anymore. You have to treat him as a regular player because he just kept running up the field like that. Had a chance to score. I did not think it was that bad of a push out of bounds. The discussion continues, and the penalty will put Army that much closer to the goal line. Everything going Army's way right now, and I mean everything. They're talking about one more time. And Army will have 1st and goal.
Illegal substitution by Cornell, declined by the Black Knights.
So the first flag was an illegal substitution. And it looks like they picked the second flag up. So first and goal for Army at the 10. That's why there was a flag. The penalty was declined because of the push out of bounds. I forgot about the first flag there for a moment. As Army just try to keep the pedal down. Again, Navy is the opponent next week. That's why they're going to play hard to the very end here. Brown, pitch on the left side. Is he in? No, he's not.
The ball carrier for Army.
And we have a whistle as somebody is down.
Nicking in with the tackle.
One of the Big Red players is shaken up here. 4:51 gone, second half. Army in front by a count of 51-0. Looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, actually on Post scoreboard, other things going on tonight on Post. Firstly, just down the road at Gillis Fieldhouse, the Army women's volleyball team down 2 sets to none against American. Wins the third set 26-24, wins the fourth set 25-17, and wins the fifth set 15-9. They get a big win to open their league schedule. They have Navy over there at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Women's soccer defeating Lehigh 1-0 over at Malik Stadium, and men's rugby over at the Anderson Rugby Complex defeating Queen's University of Charlotte 28-12. They move to 2-0 on the season. Second and goal for Army at the 2. Brown trying to lead his team into the end zone again. He looks for an opening, and he finds it. He's in. Seth Brown scores again, and Army goes up 57-0. Brown with his second touchdown on the ground tonight. So the Black Knights continue to play their identity, continue to play the way they want to play, and I am looking at the clock, and it would appear that the clock is continuing to run. Normally it doesn't do that, but I think in light of the circumstances, that might not be such a bad idea. Abercrombie back out to attempt the point after. Boots this one through. His perfect night continues, and the Black Knights are now up 58-0 with 9 minutes and counting left in the third quarter. The Army West Point Sprint football team also uses Instagram to find photos you may not find anywhere else. Visit Instagram.com/ArmyWP_SprintFB. Again, ArmyWP_SprintFB on Instagram. Ticket sales continue for the Lockheed Martin Commanders Classic presented by USAA. Army and Air Force turn to Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas on November 5th. To buy tickets for this game, visit GoArmyWestPoint.com/tickets. As a team, Army has gained 187 yards of the ground. Cornell, just 4. In the air, Army's amassed 242 yards. Cornell, just 54. Yards per play right now. Army is averaging just shy of 10. Cornell, just under 1.5. Abercrombie boots this one away as the Big Red must start all over again. And I thought I saw a knee go down, and when it rains, it pours. And right now, the Big Red have a flood in the kitchen. But they're still far above Cayuga's waters. That's the good news. So the clock continues. Actually, yes, it is continuing to run as we reach the midway point of this third quarter. And again, I'm not sure if this is something that normally happens, or if there was a discussion during halftime. I don't have that information. But the Big Red will continue to just try to work hard. Again, it's just really hard to believe that this game has evolved this way. Cornell's drive stalled to open the game, but they were moving the ball well. they had some good penetration of Army's defensive line in the first couple of minutes of this game, and suddenly Army has been able to be onto them quickly.
Pass complete to Winecoop.
Winecoop makes the catch, and he is hit immediately as Army defensively not taking a night off right now.
Tackle by Spielberg. Gain of 4.
So it'll be 2nd and 6 for the Big Red at the 21-yard line. Xavier Martinez now 7 out of 18 for 58 yards. He has a duck out of the way, and he'll go down once more. If he's behind the line of scrimmage, that'll be the 6th sack of the night. Slowly but steadily, Army's defensive line has gotten better as this game has progressed.
1, 3rd and 7. Ball back to the 20.
Again, Army has Navy next week, and then they'll have Penn, and then things might lighten up a little bit. Again, 9 teams in the CSFL. Army plays in the North Division with Cornell. Navy plays in the South. Martinez has happy feet, tries to take off, but he is overwhelmed again as the pocket collapses. So with 5.5 left in a running time third quarter, and I would expect the fourth quarter to be the same unless something really bizarre happens here. Once again, back to punt for Cornell is Charles Snyder-Trench, who's had a tough night. Had one go over his head, and he had a boot out of the end zone for his safety in the first half. Good snap this time. Gets it away. And calling for the fair catch immediately is Kobe Simeon. So Army gets the ball back with 5 minutes left. Clock continues to run here in the third.
On their own 40, on the Cornell 44-yard line.
The athletic department of the U.S. Military Academy has its own Twitter account. Follow Go Army West Point for latest information on Black Knights teams, as well as highlights and content you may not find anywhere else. Again, Go Army West Point on Twitter. So Army's had great field position all evening, and they've got it again. Justin Fitzgerald back at a quarterback. I doubt we will see Michael Willicke the rest of the way. Fake thrown out the right side. It is complete to Moses Jackson. Or probably Gerald Moore with a completion on the far side.
Tackle by Turner and Anderson for Cornell. Gain of 8. 2nd and 2. Ball on 38.
So an 8-yard gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 2 at the 38-yard line as Army. They don't want to be disrespectful to Cornell and just feel like they're piling on and running up the score, but they've got a major test next week. As this one is thrown out and completed. And running more down the field. Not quite to the end zone. That would have William Hurley who could make the catch there on the left side.
Pass complete. First down, Army.
So they move the chains again. 1st and 10 at the 16. They are staying in their identity, being greasy and fast with that ball and just running down the field. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is right now, as everybody just keeps running. Fitzgerald pitches this one out. DeAndre Brunings tries to turn the corner, and he is in for the touchdown!
Running touchdown for the Black Knights. DeAndre Brunings.
Well, didn't have to get it by much, but he did. And Army puts another brick on the load. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me? When they've got 64. Abercrombie comes back out as he tries to retire the entire batting order here. If he makes this kick, he'll be 9 for 9. Yes, he does. Everything going Army's way, and again, I'm sure Cornell will feel disappointed. because they build this potentially as a rebound year after a good finish last year, winning 2 of the last 3 games. But again, they lost 66-6 to Army at Shilkoff, and right now, Army has 65 points, and with the clock continuing to run, they really haven't broken a sweat here in the third. Ticket sales continue for the upcoming hockey season at Tate Rink. You can renew your season tickets for Army hockey or buy new ones. Many plans and group sales also available. Visit GoArmyWestPoint.com/tickets for more information. For new rinkside season tickets, please call the A Club at 845-938-2322. Sunday, October 2nd, 4 p.m. against Union. If they play the game quickly, the sun will still be out when the game's over. Seth Brown is the clubhouse leader with yards on the ground. He's got 59. Ryan Connors has 56. Trey Carson has 62 receiving yards. That leads everybody. As this one is high in the air as Cornell just... Now it's booted and picked back up. And it's just been that kind of a night for the Big Red. Army's had all kinds of guys getting on the action defensively tonight. Michael Sullivan has 3 solo tackles and 4 assists, so that's 7. That leads everybody. Robert Braggs has a solo tackle and 4 assists for 5.
23-yard line.
For Cornell, this guy has been working hard all night, and Billy Turner has tried to stop a forest fire with the moisture from a kiss. I think that's from a Garth Brooks song. Has 6 solo tackles and an assist for 7. It has not been easy. Likely the final play of the third quarter. This one is gobbled up the middle. As the Big Red are just trying to find something positive, but it's difficult to do so right now. Army. Barrel line from Dennis Green. They were who we thought they were. And that is the end of the third quarter. The teams will switch ends for the fourth. Army will complete their opening night mission at Shea Stadium. They lead after 3 by a score of 65-0. Fourth quarter's next here on Night Vision. The fourth quarter about to begin here at Shea Stadium. It's Army not taking the foot off the gas pedal. Cornell just trying to get on the board before this one is over with. We played a running clock in the third quarter. We'll see if that continues here in the fourth as Army will win its season opener, try to do some fine-tuning in the last 15 minutes of this one for its game at Navy next week.
On the tackle. Last night, we have a 3rd and 2, ball on 31.
It's been that kind of a night. Army was able to score 4 touchdowns in the first 5 minutes of the second quarter, and that blew the game. Extra wide trailer open. Martinez has gone the distance under center for Cornell. 3rd and 2 at the 31. Able to get the handoff over to Floranville, but he is wrapped up quickly. He did not get to the 33, so it'll be 4th down, and I would imagine that Cornell will go for it here. They've got nothing to lose and nothing to prove right now. You know that Army wants that stop on 4th down. Mark West says, you're always playing for something. We want another turnover, gentlemen. Can be apple, can be cherry, it doesn't matter. Just get the ball back. I don't think Floranville got it. He is short, and Army comes up with another stop. Some would say, well, they didn't need to here, Nick. They're up by 65, yes, but again, they want Navy in the worst way possible, and next week can't get here fast enough. As the clock will continue to run, as this game likely has 13 minutes to go as far as the atomic clock is concerned. Seth Brown back at quarterback for Army. He has been good on his feet tonight. Gets the handoff, is trying to bust through is DeAndre Brunings. And some more shoving after the whistle, and Brunings just walks away and just hands the ball back to one of the officials. And that's the smartest thing Army's done here in the second half. Don't get caught up in what the Big Red wants you to do. Yes, they have every right to be upset. They have been beaten comprehensively here. The ride back to Ithaca is going to be very, very long. And for those who've never been in that part of upstate New York, there are lots of hills, especially at the end. Brown chucks this one quickly, able to get it to McGowan, but he's wrapped up even more quickly. Christian Abadessa, I think, making the tackle.
Sean McGowan on the reception for Army.
Hometown Endicott, New York. I want to say he was part of the Little League World Series team that won a few years ago up there. Third and 3 at the 23. Abercrombie has made from 46, so this is in range, but he's going to have a seat for now, as here comes Brunings again. Hangs out of the ball. He is wrestled down at the 7. It'll be first and goal for Army as the Tanks are rolling it again. They continue to work hard, and Army is making a statement right now that just because they're up by a bunch that they're not going to mail it in. Looks like they're calling another audible. Mark West and his crew are calling Odio Coloni to come in and change the play. It comes again to Brunings. Tries to power his way upfield and he'll score again. That's his second touchdown of the night, and Army now leads 71-0. Abercrombie comes in for his 10th extra point attempt of the night. He is 9 for 9. And this one is true blue, as Bob Papa might say. 72-0. Not sure anybody saw this coming, especially, again, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record because I'm shocked. Cornell had some good ball movement on the opening possession. The drive stalled just ahead of midfield, and since then, Army has done everything that they've needed to do and more. Army fans shouldn't have to work hard to find other Army fans. You can use Facebook to connect with fellow supporters of the Black Knights while keeping up to date with athletic events on post. Check it out at Go Army West Point. Again, Go Army West Point on Facebook. I'm hearing the chimes at 9 o'clock. Because of what's happened, we're going to get out of here a little bit earlier than I think most people expected. A tough night for Cornell, but hopefully they learn from it. Is this one going to go out of bounds? Did it touch him? No, it did not. Wisely letting it go out of bounds was Floranville, and so Cornell will have its best field possession of the night as the clock continues running with 8:38 left in this one. Much will be made of this as far as the box score goes. Again, he has not played in the second half, but Michael Willicke, 12 of 16, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns. But behind him, Justin Fitzgerald, 5 out of 6 for 73 yards. Seth Brown, 3 of 4 for 17 yards in the air, but 7 rushes for 59 yards. 4 touchdowns inside of 5 minutes to start the second quarter. That was where this game was decided in many, many ways, but many would say, I think, as well, that Army had a good handle at the end of the first quarter after they were able to turn aside Cornell's opening possession.
Colin Boyd with the reception.
So this is completed to Colin Boyle.
Picked up the first down.
He has 4 receptions for 32 yards in this contest now. Ralph Floranville, 14 carries for 31 yards for Cornell. And as a new quarterback now for the Big Red, it is Snyder Trench. So Charles Snyder Trench, who has not had a great night punting, is now in under center.
With the tackle.
At least he was for a moment.
For the Big Red of Cornell.
And it looks like they're doing it the old-fashioned way. He's going to the sidelines for the plays. Third and 5 from the CU 40. Army wants another stop. Somebody jumped, and down goes one of the Big Red on the far side. If you line up properly as an offensive lineman in a 3-point stance, when they pick up that arm that's in the turf, you're supposed to fall. Question is, who's it going to be against? And it looks like it will be encroachment against Army. So that should give Cornell a first down. The mistakes that you can control are probably the only things that Army needs to improve upon right now. Everybody was amped coming to this one. It's like letting the kids into a candy store with a blank check. That's how they started this game, and that's fine, but they got to be able to control it. 6 minutes left. Inside handoff to Rampalpino here. Chris Rampalpino into the game now for the Big Red. As the meter continues to run, 6 minutes left.
Pino, the ball carrier. Gain of 1. Second and 9.
So 2nd and 9 for the Cornell 46. As Army just trying to make sure they can keep the shutout intact and then work on some things that they need to fix before Navy. We know it's not the game of December, but anytime the two service academies hook up in this sport, it's always special. Both service academies see this sport as a core sport, not C-O-R-P-S, but C-O-R-E as in a core of the academy's athletic identity. And boom, 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 Snyder Trench goes down like a ton of bricks. It's already just swarmed around, and we have another flag, multiple flags now. We've got ourselves a party. As it looks like the tension has returned. Was hoping it had disappeared entirely, but that's not the case, and the clock continues to run, and maybe that's a good thing at this point. We'll see if it's offsetting. We'll see if somebody gets penalized 15 yards. There were tinges of rough stuff in the second quarter, and that has never really gone away entirely. Unsportsmanlike conduct, and it's going against Army again. If you're sitting there at home saying that you expect better than cadets, you're right. It's the only problem they've had all night, but given the landscape of this place, it's a big deal. Army has taken 6 penalties for 70 yards. That's not good. They won't be able to do that against Navy next week and get away with it. Meanwhile, we have a major pile at the right hash again, and Cornell just running out of time here. They're able to pick up 4 more yards. It'll be 2nd and 6 as the Big Red just trying to get one score on the board. Don't want to go back to Ithaca empty-handed. Rampal Pena with another 4 yards on the board. Back goes Snyder. Trench throws this one up in the air, and it's intercepted. Army finally has the interception they've wanted all evening.
Mark Conley, interception for the Black Knights. Army will take over, 1st and 10 on their own 12-yard line.
Mark Conley picks up the interception for Army, and they'll take over with 2.5 left. Work continues towards the $95 million Mikey Stadium Preservation Project. It's the most ambitious gift-funded construction project in the history of the U.S. Military Academy. For more information or to make a gift, please visit MikeyStadium.com. And so Army just continue to move the ball, and I would imagine at this stage of the game, you're not going to have any timeouts called, and there will be exactly 2 minutes left in this game.
Gain of 4, 2nd and 6.
So Army, again, 4 touchdowns in a 5-minute span to open the second quarter after they were already up 16-0 at that stage. And it all came in a hurry. It was after a snap out of the end zone on a punt for Cornell that Army got good field position, and Michael Willicke fired a 45-yard bomb to Donovan Mannion, and that opened the floodgates. That was the first of the 4 touchdowns in the first 5 minutes of the quarter.
Taken by Anderson.
As there might be just 2 more plays left in this one as the clock continues to run.
Black Knight first down.
At the very least, if you've never seen this sport before, I hope that there's perspective here. Sprintfootball.com. That's how you learn about the history of the sport, which again was being played before World War II. And we had a team from 1972 that was honored at the half. Back then, the weight limit was 150. Now it's 178. And there are dehydration rules and rules against how you can lose the weight and maintain it properly. It's a big part of the athletic identity here at West Point. Same thing for the Naval Academy. The 2 service academies have the lion's share of the CSFL titles, and they're going to play a big game next week. And there are a lot of people expecting that they will meet for the title game once more. Army has taken a big step towards getting back there with some destruction tonight of the Big Red, as this will likely be the final play of the contest. Fitzgerald takes the handoff.
Fitzgerald, the keeper.
He'll go down, and that should be the end of this one as Army completes its opening night mission, defeating Cornell 72-0. And hopefully it ends with some sense of civility. It got heated in the second half as Cornell, again, they had higher expectations. They thought they might have turned a corner at the end of last season, but Army beats them by a wider margin tonight than they did at the end of last season. So the Big Red may have some more work to do. But as long as Terry Cullen is leading that program, he'll definitely get the most out of every player at Shokov. That I can promise you. Army will move on to Navy. They'll also have Penn right around the corner. And they'll try to keep winning and try to get another title. The Black Knights tonight, getting it done quickly. They were up 14-0 at the end of the first. Got a safety to open the second quarter. Willicke, 45 yards to Mannion. That was right after the free kick. And then a couple of minutes later, Henry Beck ran for 23 yards to make it 30-0. And then 2 minutes later, Ryan Connors ran for 38 yards to make it 37-0. Army doing the job, getting it done quickly. 255 yards on the ground to Cornell's 11. In the air, Army with 275 receiving yards to Cornell's 63. The only bad part for Army, they picked up 85 yards in penalties in this game. That needs to change if they want to do better against Navy next week. And we'll stay here for a moment. It looks like they're going to play the West Point alma mater.
At this time, the West Point's alma mater.
Well, I think we found out tonight who knows the words and who needs to be better. Yes, that sort of thing does happen here too, but everybody picked up, and it's kind of a fitting way to end the evening because Army was able to do everything on the field they needed to do, and that included getting the alma mater at the end. The final score here at Shea Stadium, opening night here in the CSFL play, Army 72, Cornell nothing. Army will get a crack at Navy next week. For our night